cultural history of Orange County. We have such an amazing cultural history that dates back at least 10,000 years, and we're very happy to have with us tonight the Kizh Gabrieleno Band of Mission Indians. And Matt Teutimez is going to be our speaker tonight. He is a professional biologist for a local consulting firm here in Orange County. And he's also the biologist for the Kizh Band of Gabrieleno Mission Indians, and he's also, which he is a member of. So we're very happy to have him. But to give us a little cultural background of the Gabrieleno, we're going to speak with Teutimez, who is the historian for the Kizh Gabrieleno Band of Mission Indians. Please welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. Is it evening? Yeah, it's evening. I'm just going to give you a little beginning on about the tribe. Let's get started. We are the Kizh Gabrieleno Mission Indians. Kizh? What's a Kizh? Kizh is a house. And there's one there. Let's see. Which arrow? This guy here? We're known for our dome-shaped houses. We've all seen that. We are known as the Kizh. People told us we were the people of the dome-shaped houses. It all started for us in about 1771 in the Whittier Narrows, our village of Estangania. And that's when the Spanish conquered us. We were enslaved. Before we were enslaved, this is sort of a painting of a village scene. Gives you an idea of building a Kizh. We always buy a water source. Our area was from the lower Santa Barbara on that side all the way down to San Isidro to the Santa Susana Mountains. I don't know if you can tell that from this map. But we traveled about. We were traveling about in our Tia canoes, plank canoes. This picture is really made rounds. We traveled to our paddling island, which was known as Igloo. This picture I thought was kind of cool because it's before the casino. This is the first San Gabriel mission. So when we were enslaved at our village of Estangania, we were forced to build the first San Gabriel mission. This is an artist's conception of what the mission looked like. It was made out of the sources that they had by the river, which were tule, brush, and willow branches. A lot of people don't know that there was a first San Gabriel mission. This slide comes to us by the series of Zorro on television, but it shows the Indians after they were conquered. The first San Gabriel mission was washed away by floodwaters, and they moved to higher ground and to our village of Tobascania. Tobascania is now San Gabriel, and it shows that the mission Indians we were now mission Indians. We were Kizh. The Spanish called us Kizherinos. After we built the San Gabriel mission, the second San Gabriel mission, we were named Gabrielenos. While we were enslaved, we did various things. This is the Stations of the Cross, and it's hanging in the mission now. I got a kick out of this because the Indians always put mustaches on the Romans, which is interesting. This is from our village of Tobascania, a native woman grinding corn. If you haven't seen them before. Oops. This is has been around too. We call it the Three Sisters. They don't have any information on it, but they are Gabrieleno women back in the 1800s. This is another map showing where the Kizh Gabrieleno border. Here in red. All these are other tribes. That's where we were. Another map that was on the internet shows all of our village, or some of our villages. Here we go. This is Jane Rosemeyer. She was interviewed by C. Merriam. They asked her what village she was from, and through an interpreter, she said, I was from the village of Teutimez, where the mission is now. And he didn't know what to think of that. He couldn't write it, so he wrote it in shorthand. And we think that's where the misconception of that word that's over there came about. It's been around, but we can't find it in any history, so we have no idea where it came from. The state of California named us the Gabrielenos on their resolution, state resolution. We are the California Indians. We are known by this assembly bill and nothing else. So whatever else you've heard of what we're called, we're not. They named us Gabrielenos, and that shows that a lot of people haven't seen that. People. Just kind of cut off. We talk about shamans in our tribe. One for we're talking about. We just have our book out now on this one. Teutimez, Joan of Arc of California. She started several what's the word I want? Uprisings against the Spanish. She was captured, she was punished, she was taken up to Santa Barbara, and there she died. She has an interesting life. We revere her because she was ahead of her time with standing up to the Spanish. We have a book on it, it's in the other room. Another lady is Helena Jackson. She was known for a lot of things. She was known for writing the romance novel Ramona. And she supported Native American rights, so she will always be remembered by our tribe. Another picture, an interesting picture. One of the only pictures of Hugo Reed on the far left. I don't know if you can see him with the beard. Now, who was Hugo Reed? He was a Scotsman. He was an explorer. He was also the husband of Bartolomea Comey-Crambit. Better known as Victoria Reed. Victoria Reed was another pioneer woman of our tribe. She made it possible for our tribe to survive. She was given a land grant by the mission. What was it called? Huerta de Cuati. And the tribe existed on that land. There was a price on Indian heads. You have to kind of put yourself in that frame of mind. So our tribe was safe on that property. This is the only image of her that exists today. This is where her land was. That's going back to 1835. Huntington Library is there. She had her land back in 1850, but what came along was the Americans came and made it possible for no Indian that owns, lease, or sell property. So her husband died, so she was forced to sell her property to family friend Benito Wilson, Benjamin Wilson. Mount Wilson's named after that. Little boy. This picture was just kind of funny how the origin of pictures are. We were sitting there looking at the family box of pictures. We asked our chief, and our chief is about 80 years old now, so he's not as sharp as he used to be. And we asked him, who's this picture? And he said, oh, I don't know. So he got up and went into the kitchen, got a glass of water, and he came down, sat down, and he goes, what's that picture of my Aunt Feliciana there? And we were all who? This is Aunt Feliciana holding her child Anita with Ann Patton, who is George S. Patton's sister. And Benito Wilson was the grandfather of George S. Wilson. So we're getting the property from Victoria Reed, passing on to Benito Wilson to George Patton. Getting a pattern there. Oops. On the ranch, we've always known our oral history, but now we're finding the documents to back it up. Benjamin Wilson, this is the census showing who lived on this property. Here he is, age 48, and his wife. And all these people here are the tribe. So now, not only do we have our oral history, but we have these documents to back up where the tribe was. They never left, never went anywhere. There's George's cat up there in the deck outfit with Henry Huntington. There's that's our chief Ernie on the grounds of the Huntington Library. We went there because he told stories about when he was a child. He would go to the grounds of the Huntington Library and meet with his aunt in secret. He had secret meetings there. And he's pointing to the foundation of the house that he used to stay in. His aunt used to live in. And it's not there anymore. But we found it. They moved it to San Gabriel. It's on Del Mar. And there's the chief and the chairman, Andy, looking at it. It's kind of cool to find these places still exist. There's the chief on Pack Street, up in front of the Pack House. So we go to Sunny Slopes. Sunny Slope was a water source that the tribe built, and it's there today in the San Marino area. This is kind of cool because it still shows the handprints of the natives that built Sunny Slope. Then we go to Burro Flats. Burro Flats is a sacred site for the Gabrieleno, and the pictographs inside are very cool. It's in Simi Valley. It's owned by NASA. It's all top secret, and we go there twice a year. There's the tribe there. Some of the pictographs inside the cave. We also were very honored to, not this year, but last year, we had a friend run a Boston Marathon, and he ran with our jersey on there. It says Los Angeles Village of Young Gabrieleno Band Mission Indians. Yeah, the plaza is a sore subject with us. It hasn't been settled. Our ancestors were dug up. The plaza downtown Los Angeles, if you haven't been there, the cemetery was disrupted. Our ancestors were dug up. Their bones are on shelves in UCLA in boxes. There's the Lowell Bean. Lowell Bean was the famous anthropologist, and among other things, he wrote a book, the American Indian Handbook. And funny story, he said that we were extinct in his book. So we went to Palm Springs, where he's living now, and showed him we weren't extinct. We showed him our documents, and he recanted it, and it's now documented correctly that we are very much alive. It's a picture of the tribe in San Marino, which was Victoria Reed's property. And our chief, thank you very much. They can go to our website, which is GabrielenoIndians.org. And now, for the second half, Mr. Teutimez.
Good evening. All right, give me a second to get this set up. All right, so for this part of the evening, I wanted to give you just some of the history by our historian, just to give you a little taste of the cultural side, because what we're going to do now is go on the parallel side and talk about the plants and animals. A lot of the cultural side and the natural side, the biology side, have had a similar, I guess, trip on this little destruction time of our past generations. So that's what we're going to discuss for this portion. So let's go on to the next. What I want to discuss are not so much how stuff was used back then. We can discuss a lot of that stuff. You can find that in books. We have a lot of that knowledge within the family. However, what interests me is, why did they use that? Why did they choose willow over a laurel sumac? Why did they choose chia over calcordis? Stuff like that is stuff that interests me. So that's what we're going to get into today. And the more research that I've done in this, the more it makes sense. And the more it makes me realize how much our generation has really disrupted what was placed here for all of our use. What was originally here for us. Willow. We're going to take this for example. Willow is one of the main plants utilized by all California natives. Where willow grows, willow is a symbol for women. Willow is bendable, but will never break. We do so many things with willow, such as making houses. And willow not only is a unbreakable form, it also adds insecticide value. So when you make your house, we made dome-shaped houses. Why? Because the willow could bend. And a dome-shaped house is actually a more sound structure than your teepee structure. So when you can form a dome, you want to do that. Look at the architectural stuff in Rome and things of that sort. The dome is the structure you're after. So we had willow. We could do it. Here's some of the willow structures that were made, and then thatch on the outside. And not only did you have the structure being made, I mean, you could house hundreds of people inside some of these structures. And they all have purpose. But not only do you have structure purpose with willow, you also have a medicinal purpose of willow. This is the part that just really gets me. So check it out. Willow is from Salix. Salix is the genus for willow. Within Salix is the chemical compound salicin. You can follow the line right here. Salicin, which we find in willow, then when we ingest the salicin, so we take a twig, we take a leaf, we boil it in some tea, or we just eat it straight, that salicin gets into our body. If we did not have intestinal flora, which is the probiotics you are now paying for, if we did not have the intestinal flora, that salicin would just go into our body, go right out. No use to us. But check it out. We were created with intestinal flora that takes that salicin, puts it into saligen, or saliginic, however you want to pronounce it, and then in our liver oxidizes it into salicylic acid. Go home, check your aspirin bottle. It says right on there, acetyl acid is the major compound that's found. That is what happens naturally in our bodies. That's how God created what's here. So, this is just one example on how we were supposed to use this for us. It was designed that way. But today, we have to go to CVS and we use compounds that are so neutralized that, anyway. So then we go into clothing. And clothing, as you can see, if you want to look at the natives back then, think of more Hawaiian type. The ocean was very powerful for the folks here. I mean, you had so many resources associated with the ocean. So just like our Southern California wheel that we have here, that's the same thing. So a lot of it was shell beads. And then of course you have your components. And some of those components are from the deer. You have your buckskin. Real quick tidbit, we don't have drums. Why don't we have drums? Because we have mule deer. We don't have elk. We don't have a lot of the hard, thin, or hard, high type animals like buffalo to make drums out of. Ours were mule deer. It just goes right through the skin because it's hot here, right? You don't want to be thick-skinned and live here. So thus, we utilize the components that were here. So thus, we did flutes. We did clapper sticks. Percussion is still very important within all native cultures. Same here. But anyway, about the buckskin. So then from the buckskin, you go into the braided tule skirt. Plants utilized so harmoniously because even, right outside, we can make bracelets for ourselves and have friendship bracelets. Like, you can do so much stuff, which is what's been created for us. And then you go into your sea otter skin robe. A lot of times rabbit was used here. Actually, here's a little tidbit that nobody knows right now. Sea otter found in Seal Beach, Naval Weapons Station. Maybe you're familiar with Seal Beach Naval Weapons Station. Just about a week ago, I worked there with the endangered species, so that is now their, I think, 7th endangered species now in their waters. Has not been seen in Southern California. In Seal Beach at least. But the cool thing about the braided stuff, I just love this design. This whole design they need to do that because when you put on something, you know how skin you have the soft fur and then you have the skin. Are you really going to want to wear the skin on your skin? No. So what you do is you take strips, and that's why it looks like that. You take strips and you braid them together. Then you take all those strips together and you braid that. So now you have soft on one side and soft on the outside. Oh, it's beautiful. But then we can relate this back to the animals. There's a study done by Arizona State University. I love telling this to the kids because it makes so much sense. Because my uncle always tells us, under every leaf and every rock there is a lesson that God has hid for you. And that's what we believe. That's why nature is so very important. One of the multiple reasons why nature is so important, because we learn so much stuff from it. Here's one thing. Barn swallows, they're out right now. They just came in migration. You can see them flying all around. They're the guys with the forked tail, but red breast. Check out what these researchers did, just for their little study. They took male barn swallows, and during a non-breeding time, so during a time where they don't have competition and stuff like that, they went and painted them red. So you can see the variation in red on these. So this guy, to the ladies, is like, woo-hoo, that's the dude I'm going for. Because the more red they get, it shows that their food value is good, it shows that they produce stuff good, so it's a good indicator for the ladies, just like humans use indicators too, you all know. So with this, what they ended up doing is they took the testosterone levels of these birds before they painted them up, got the baseline level. Then they painted them up, introduced a bunch of females in there. Then they took the boys out, took their testosterone levels again, and said, whoa, these guys that we painted up, their testosterone levels were through the roof. And what that tells us is that when you look good, you physiologically change and feel good. There's a physiological change that goes on within our bodies just in reactions from other things. So when we're in a group setting, these are some of the things that are actually going on in our bodies. These birds are telling us this. So just another lesson to learn. And then, oh my goodness, don't get me started. Oh, you just did. Taxol, platinum Taxol. I hope none of you know about this. This is breast cancer medication. Also ovarian cancer medication. Also, what's the man's one? Prostate. All from the Pacific U. This guy's found up in Santa Cruz. Now check it out. So I've been telling you about some of these chemical compounds that come from plants. And we're missing out on a lot of those because we have endangered plants right now, such as Nevin's barberry. Do you know what Nevin's barberry? This is a side note. Nevin's barberry endangered because it's in the floodplains of all our San Diego River, Los Angeles River, San Andreas River. This plant is already known to have compounds that help cure malaria and tuberculosis, and it's endangered. We already have our solutions available for us. Well, this guy, they figured out in the 70s, oh my goodness, this has compounds that could help us with cancer. Well, how would that work? Let's figure it out. So Taxol, check it out. Oh, we're getting scientific now. Cell cycle. Now, what happens is that within our cells, in order for cells to divide, we have structures called the cytoskeleton. They're called microtubules. That's what this is showing you right now. These microtubules are formed. When you divide, you have to break them apart. This is what Taxol does. What this compound from this specific U will do in the bark of Pacific yew. Remember that, it's in the bark of the Pacific yew. Hint, hint. What it does is it stabilizes this part. So it doesn't break apart. If you stabilize a cell, what's going to happen? It can't separate. So if you stabilize a cancer cell, that cancer cell is going to stay. It's not going to replicate. Thus, you're reducing the cancer. That's what's happening right here. You can see the paclitaxel right here. It just gets, it gets itself inside and is able to stabilize it. So thus, you can utilize that to help with cancer from spreading. Now check this out. This is not from the Pacific yew. This defense is from a fungus within the bark of the Pacific yew. The evolutionary process. The fungus is protecting the bark because that's where it lives. So the way it protects it is this method. This is a relationship that these guys have. We not only get our medicines from source products such as plants, we get it from relationships of plants. How many relationships have we just destroyed on what we're standing on right now? Anyway, I'm sorry, I get off on tangents. But then we go into food. Oh, so I hope some of you tried the Mabala salad outside. Cactus, tomato, onion, chia, bee pollen, sambucus oil, all within that. All components that, as we're going to get to, you guys will be appreciative that you have that. Check it out. This is just a little tidbit about Juan Paracera. San Gabriel, as you know, Juan Paracera became famous because he had good grapes here to make good wines. All the other fathers were like, woo, let's go down to Sarah's place because that's where we're going to get the good stuff. And what he noticed was that, if you read this, that there was plenty of food here for folks. Not until the land managing ideas of the Europeans, not until they came in, was the food scarce. Because, as I've explained to you, we have so many food sources around us. Why would you clear it for one crop? That's what happened. Or track it down for one cow. Because that's what happened here. So another thing that Juan Paracera noticed, these are the dudes that the Indians had to go against. So when you come across a huge rifle like this that you've never seen before and it explodes and then blows someone up in front of you. But what he did notice was they did have, we were quite healthy folk and good teeth because the low sugar in the diet, low salt in the diet, the teeth kind of got kind of gravelly because of the sand and other components to it, which I'm going to discuss as well. But like, check this out. This is some of the old pictures of how you would make a cannoli or a toli, which is like a mush. But now, this is something. I'm going to go back. I'm going to talk this just real. Anyone heard of nistalization? From the tribe down south, Nishtali. Anyway, don't quote me on that one, but you can look up nistalization. Nixtal. I bring it up on this picture because what this is that if you were to take corn and you put it in lime water, you then have now expressed nutrients from that corn. It will not express the nutrients until you chemically make it with the lime water. How do you get lime water? You can take shells like this, crush them up, put it in water, make a soluble solution, and get your acorns and put them in there. This, if you look at every recipe for acorn mush, traditional recipe, it has ash in it. Why would it have ash? Ash is the component that makes that acorn mush into the most nutritious meal ever. Check it out with nixtalization, Nixtal. It's not niche, it's nixtalization if you were to say it with the, but what it does is that it actually takes out the pericarp and then opens up the nutrients, such as niacin, vitamin B3. Check out what happens if you don't get niacin. It's called Palabra, P-A-L-L-A-B-R-A. We had an epidemic in the 20s. This is from not the technology, not knowing it. Our culture today did not know this technology. These folks, our bloodline knew it for thousands of years and utilized it. All from South America to North America. Just technology that are here for us. Now check out some of the benefits of wild foods. There's just so many different benefits. Probably one more time, but because there's more stuff that I want to talk about. But these are some of the trades that we have made with our foods that are available for us still. We've taken wheat flour for like grain, as you know, seeds and grains. That's where our omega-3 fatty acids are. That's where our ALA, hydrolytic, the acids that are good for your cholesterol. All that stuff is with that, and we took it all out for 1 grain. Potatoes replaced, oh my goodness, corns in June right now, calcornis. If you're familiar with our local endangered lilies, if you ever have a chance to taste calcornis, oh, take it. Me and my dad have done it. I legally got some, and it is like nutty, like a macadamia nut, but just like, but with like a meat, like it was remarkable. And all that's in our ground. And I can explain why stuff is in the ground. We were known as diggers. All the food's in the ground. Think of it, we're hot. So all the energy for the plant is going to be underground, because that's where it's going to retain it. So elderberry, you guys are going to love this information. This was actually taken in Orange County. This is my grandmother's elderberry tree. This is taken in Chino Hill State Park. I just love that. That was probably maybe a month ago I took that picture. No, 3 weeks ago. But, oh, I hope you can see this. You gotta look this up. Look up Sambucus, and you gotta start taking it, because if you get the flu, Sambucus is what you want to take. Sambucus has already been found from Israel to Korea to Norway. It's already been found to stop the flu virus. It does not kill it, but it stops it. What does it do? As you know, all viruses have receptors on them. What this bad boy does is it gets in there and gets on the receptor so it cannot divide. So when you take Sambucus, what you're doing is pretty much halting the process of the flu to progress. Because flu needs to provide, it's a virus. It needs to make more of itself. It cannot do it on its own. It needs cells to be able to do it for it. That's how viruses work. So if you were to take one of these and check out the Norway study, check out, oh, and it's not only for the standard flu, it's for the avian flu, it's for the swine flu, it's for the Panamanian flu, I never knew that existed. It's for H1N1, 489. It's for all the viruses, they're all the same. They all have the receptors. And this is, so we have so many scientists right now looking for a cure for the flu, and it grows right outside our door. You take it constantly, you won't get the flu. I mean, did you check out these numbers? In the Sambucus, if you were getting Sambucus, in 2 days, you had a significant improvement. And in 93.3 cases, this happened. In the control group, which just got placebo, just sugar water, 97% of them had to wait 6 days for them to recover. Sambucus too. Chia, you guys have had some of this. This is being touted as the superfood. You can, put $5 more down for your chia seed now, even though you can get it at Northgate Market for 89 cents. If you're at but because finally our generation is finally getting wise to the benefits of these things that grew here. This picture is from here. I took this picture in actually San Diego, but we do have chia on our hills too. Not so much anymore. But anyway, check out just in 1 ounce. And so you guys eat that. And the best thing about chia for culinary purposes, it doesn't have a flavor. So what it does is it absorbs like 10 times its amount of liquid. So what happens when you eat it, it's in your gut, and you can then, if you eat that chia and that's already absorbed, you're pretty much, you have like little containers of water, waiting to be burst. So I do it when I go out in the field, and it makes me last, the whole day. Because the chia, I think, just really retains the water and allows it to be expressive. But anyway, you can do that with like puddings. You do that in like a milk culture, and then you get the chia in there, and it makes like a tapioca. Oh my goodness. So many uses of chia, and medicinal. So because of the absorptive value, or the fact that it can absorb, back in the old days, what they would do is when you had pink eye, you'd take some chia seeds, put it in your eye, underneath. Sleep through the night, it will absorb out the sickness, and then bam, you'll be better the next day. These are some tools. This is actually a tool that came out of a site that we had. It is a bone awl for making, and you can see some of the edges, for making these wonderful things. Gabrielenos were known for their baskets, for their creations. They were just so, I mean, this was an intricate, very highly advanced culture that lived on this land. For thousands of years it was that. You had multiple languages being spoken. I mean, it was just a very complex, kind of like how we are today, where we have multiple languages being spoken, but we all still find a way to get along, even though the freeway's tough at times. But what they utilized made these beautiful things. I mean, you can see these tools. But now today, we can't make these because of our land management. In order to make stuff like this, and to be able to gather like this, and make this, you need to tend the garden. This is a garden. This is not natural world stuff. The reason why when the Europeans, when they came over and they saw all the abundance, and the Indians gave them abundance, is because they tended the garden. What they did was they had stuff like regeneration with cactus and nopales. If you're going to make cactus grow, and this is actually important for cactus friend people, if any of you are out there. Please, anybody? Anyway. Cactus wren, it's our local Orange County bird of special concern. It actually needs structure to be able to nest in. So it needs these pads. If you've got a bunch of these fruits growing, cactus wren don't use that. They use it for food, but not for structure for nesting. So what you do is you slip off one of those, bam, you're going to get two pads growing. You're going to create structure, and you're going to create new food. That's what we just ate, were these new pads right here. So you have to do work in our land in order to make it produce for you. You also have pruning. Check this out. In order to make those baskets, you think you can make baskets out of this? That's how it is today. What you got to do is prune it so that you can get straight shoots. Here's an example of real time right now. This is a process called coppicing. This wasn't intentional. This is just the effect that happened from when you take the whole length of the tree off. You're going to have secondary shoots come up, and those shoots are going to be straight and long. Just what you need for a digging stick, just what you need for maybe an arrow, just what you need for whatever you can think of for that. You need to tend the garden, and we are not allowed to tend the garden. And if you were able to, you could create beautiful creations. Much like these baskets that were created by beautiful people back then. But before we get to the thank yous, I want to parallel it with, I've given you information about just a tidbit of what's available in Orange County and what's below our feet that we walk on every day. And yet it gets disregarded. It's in the way of progress. But it's our solution. It's what we need in order not only to survive our diseases, but to survive around each other. You know how we get, but if we learn from each other, learn from what nature has to tell us, it's going to be a better world. And this parallels the treatment of the native people of the land as well. The forces that have come in and have changed the structure of, this has only happened in our 2 generations. Thousands of years have lived here. And in the last couple generations, we have done what we have done. And we've also done that to the culture of this land. I wanted Tim to talk to you because there is some crazy historical information within the native folks of this land. And they are here to connect us to the past, which we all know that gives us information about the future. So in this talk, I just really wanted to provide you with some evidence of the value of what is around us. Because it was put here for a purpose, and that purpose is for each and every one of us. Not to look at, but to utilize. So thank you.